welcome back to the Red Bill Performance channel. Would you look at that? We got a Ranger in here today. And it ain't even mine. But you know, make a change. I do like me some Rangers. But probably not, because this in here is the cousin to Gustavo, Phyllis. And it's got one of those Ocho-schmaticers in it. And yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Ocho-schmatics, not in these Rangers anyway. I like my little 5-speeds, just clutch dump it all day long. That's what I'm partial to. I do like the battle scars though. That's factory. Adds character. I do like it though. It's a good little unit. Got it in today because it's got a little misfire to it. I have my suspicions. Let's see. It's got the cutouts for fog lights, but it ain't got no fog lights. What's up with that? Well, that's ironically confusing. Anyway, yep, it's in here because it's got a miss and they just want it checked out and kind of gone through. I suspect it's probably the valve cover seals. Got the oil leaking down into the sparkulator holes. Maybe not. Could be a bad coil, bad spark plug, bad wires, whole number of things. But this unit got 246,000 miles on it. Loyal, these Rangers are. So let's dive in here. Let's get this hood up. Let's check it out. Let's get in here. What are you doing? Huh? What's going on in here? Not bad, not bad. Seen worse. There we go. Why does this hood weigh like 400 pounds more than my hood? Did they switch back to a steel hood? Surely they didn't. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lanta. Why did they do that? That makes absolutely no sense. Huh. All right. So this is a 2006. It's a mid-year 6. It's a 6 month of 06. So it's a 2006 Ford Ranger. Same engine with some, you know, non-improvements. You know, they switched over to the plastic valve cover, added a few other plastic bits here and there. A little bit of what looks to be bird poop over here, maybe. I'm not real sure. And they put a steel hood back on it. Why? Mine's an 02. It's got an aluminum hood. Why would you add weight to it? I don't know. I digress. Light. And now there's light. I can already tell you right off the hop, it's low on coolant. I can already tell you exactly, without a doubt in my mind, where it's leaking. Want to see? Right there. Guarantee you that valve. Look, you can even see it. The remnants of leakage down there. This gives you a little extra light. Can you tell how fluid's been running down that hose? That's been a little wet. That's been a little this, a little bit of that. That right there is your heater core control valve. If you got your heat side of the thermostatical switchy switch on the dash turned off, if it's over on the cold side, that valve's closed. Not letting any fluid go through. So your heater core's not inside, you're getting hot. Which is cool, which is fine, which is dandy. But for some reason, they had to make it out of the junkest plastic they could find in the world. And they all do that. And the aftermarket ones are even junker. Like when I first got my Ranger, when mine was leaking when I got it, and I put a replacement one on it, literally didn't make it 2 weeks and it was leaking. And you know, it don't leak out of like where the hoses connect or nothing like that. We'll get this off here because I'm going to delete it. already gonna do it because I already know it's leaking. That's where all the coolant's going. So we're gonna get this off, but it's got a little metal rod here that hooks up this actuator, and that metal rod just has an O-ring seal, but they ain't got enough reinforcement in there or something, and it leaks out where that rod goes in there. Just junk. That's okay. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna make it better. It's gonna be us approved when we get done. But you know, all these lines still look good. Let's see here. Well, there's a line that could be deleted really. Just go to one solid line, get all the check valves out of it. But power brakes work, so we won't worry about it. But to further evidence of our miss might be in oil in the spark plug holes, as I can already tell, the intake has some oil saturation on it. Got a little seepage around the front, but this entire area here looks wet. And there's the insulation down in there, so there's probably been a mouse living in there. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if there's a wire in there chewed into. Would not surprise me. But to do a valve cover gasket on these, you got to take the intake off. Ask me how I know. Simple, just because I know. I've done this several times. So pull the intake off of it. Well, we'll pull out the spark plugs first to see if there's any oil in any of the holes. Probably is. And once we determine that it needs a valve cover gasket, we'll just start ripping in this thing. We'll get her tore apart and, you know, do fun things. And let's see, will this just pull off? Oh yeah, it will. Okay, so right there, we'll be able to set all that back then. So I want to get this out of the way because it's just going to be a little knuckle buster. There it is. See, they changed that for my year. Mine's just got, you know, the old rubber 90 elbow and a hose that plugs into it, kind of like that one. So they've done some fancy updates for these plastic valve covers. Wouldn't you know? Let's see, how was that one made? How did that one work? I don't know. Break off your fingernail. You know what? It can just be in the way for now. That's 5/16. Get this whole thing off and out of the way. I don't know if it's a bird or a rat or what's been in there just pooping on everything, but it's disgusting. Oh wow, this ain't been off in a long time. There we go. Oh, condensation. Interesting. Anyway, put it over there. We don't want to confuse it with none of the 7.3 parts. Man, wouldn't this thing be something we accidentally bolted that turbo on her? And I would. I definitely have a turbo on mine. I just ain't found the means of tuning it. That's why my plan is to yank the motor out of it. Yep, sure is. Yank the engine right up and out of it and slap in something cooler. Oh yeah. That's all the proof I need right there. Proof is in the pudding. You got the oil saturation. Alright. Yep. Like I said, that's all I need to know. We're taking the valve cover off this bad girl right here. Let's see, there's number 1. Okay, and it's actually got the label wires on it. It's number 1 wire. Is that labeled number 2? I don't think it. I think it has mismatched wires on it. because that wire does not match the rest of them. Because it's not. Does it have a 2 on it and I'm just not seeing it? I don't know. We'll find out when we get it out. I'll go ahead and take this off. Yeah. 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 Get out of there. Alright, we got that one off. We'll just put it over here by the poop. Put it over here by the poop. Alright. Now, we'll plug this one, get it out of the way. Yep, there you go. Yeah, that's right. I was halfway forgetting how these work. Yeah, this has a big. If I can get my hand in here, it's just a big metal pushy push. You just push it and it comes right off. Said I'd almost forgotten how they work. Unplug this. I get this hose off. See, are these still Torx? Yep. Take the Torx, get those off. Pull the whole coil off, get it out of the way. Aha! Perfect fit. T25, if any of y'all wondering. T25, pull your coil right off. Yep. I've done this job twice. It's pretty simple job. Nothing to it really. Except for the part of taking the intake off. And I have to look at the intake. See if, because it was idling really high and idling weird. And they can also be these idle control motors. They go out all the time on these Fords. At least in my experience. Maybe not yours. I mean, you could have been working on Fords for 40 years and never replaced one, but I've replaced a couple of them. We got a cracked perch on the coil too. Wonder if this is an aftermarket coil. We about to find out, ain't we? Yeah. Oh, no, there it went. Got one broken foot. Let's see if any of the others are cracked. It don't look like it. And I have to get it out of here probably. I can't tell if it's a Motorcraft or a Mazda. Can't say for certain, but I'm almost willing to say it's probably an aftermarket just from the sheen of it. And that dip, I don't think that's a factory dip. I think the factory resin or whatever you want to call it is black. A black, like a missile. Oh, get out of it. Oh, just quit dripping your oil everywhere. We don't want nothing. Yeah, I'm gonna put new wires on it anyway. Yep, that one's full of oil. Yep. That one's full of oil. We just got the oil and the dirt daubers. Just get on out of here. And then we got the insulation from the rodents. I don't know why, but they love making homes back here on the back of these intakes. I left mine parked one time for a while. I was out working on the road. And I come back, it had been sitting for about a year. And every spark plug wire, I'm talking from boot to boot, was gone. The entire engine wiring harness was gone. Every hose on it was gone. Yeah, that was an interesting problem to have, to say the least. I'll just set this here. Oh no, I got the schmoo on me. Okie dokie. Get that hose off. Get that hose off back there. which we gotta get to that, but you don't have to take this cover off, but it does make things easier if it's just not in the way. 7mm. And in the process of taking this off, you gotta unbolt the EGR pipe, and you just kind of pull it back, and then the intake will wiggle loose from it, away from it, around it, about it. This little hose here is pushing that plastic clip. Smash your own fingers a couple dozen times. It comes right off. And I'm trying to think, is it hooked up here? Yeah, it's that one there. Yeah, let's see, because it runs through the fuel rail. See, the fuel rail, unless they changed it. Did it come off with it? I can't even remember. No. You can't see it because it's so grimy in there. But the fuel rail stays on the head, and the intake comes out, and the fuel rail stays in there. And then that hose there runs through the loom for the fuel rail, so it's easier just to unhook it and leave it just in there. Ouchie! I'm always hurting myself. Yeah, see how you just... And come here. Yep, there you go. Out! I'll forget where that goes. There'll be a huge panic here later, and yeah. That's off. Rumba, rumba, rumba! Anywho, let's get this squuzzed up and out of here if I can. Find the coordination. There it is. Yep, so you take your little cable out, and then the fuel line on this one is different than mine. My fuel line runs up right here, and then has a rubber line that hooks up and comes over. So it's a little different. It's out of my way. This one, on the other hand, is right in the way. Whatcha? Be gone with your bad self. Huh. Yeah, it has a few variances from mine, but not many. Not many at all. Then you take out those bolts, just lay this whole bracket back. And then, I don't know, that line is really stiff. You know, I don't know why they did it that way. I don't know what was wrong with how it was, but, you know, I'm sure they had their reasons. I mean, I'm sure they did. I mean, didn't they? Wouldn't they have? Is that the same size, or is that 8mm? Am I finally moving up to an 8mm? Yes, 8mm. 8mm for the win! Whoa! Whoa! Now, come off anytime. There we go. Alright, let's see, we got that off. And then it lays back out of the way, and you shouldn't have to worry about it. And then that fuel line. See, there was another sensor that used to bolt on right where that's bolting on. And I think they might have done the delete on that sensor. Or moved it. Alright, yep, you just gotta, yep, just forcefully get yourself down in here. No, baby, come back. I heard it hit the ground. We can save it. Yes. Look, when a plan comes together. Alright, yeah, see, now that fuel line is loose from the intake. But, unfortunately, because of the way that this one is ran, I'm at least going to have to unhook it here to get the intake out. And you have to unbolt the power steering pump and lay it off to the side to get the intake up and out of here. Trust me, you can fight with it all week long. It's easier just to take out the couple bolts that hold on the power steering and just set it to the side than it is to fight with it and potentially break your plastic intake. So, yeah. We'll finish getting these hoses off back here. We'll pull the belt off, and then we can set back that power steering a pimp. You know, these hose clamp pliers work great, except for on these little bitty ones. Then they suck. Aha, win. We got that hose up and out of the way. We got a ground strap that is almost gone. I'd hate to meet the rat that's been chewing on that thing. Jesus. Alrighty. Is there another hose back there? Well, it is. See, they got a junction here that does more than what mine does. I think for the most part, all these hoses are broke loose. For the most part. Wow. That there had a lot of moisture in it too. I just can't get, there we go. It's like I just can't get no leverage. I can't get on it. And what is that? That's a big old dumb one. And that spring clamp barely has any spring left in it. This one back here might be interesting. It might be one of those that comes off when the intake comes out. It's in such an awkward spot. Yeah, I think we'll address that one when we're pulling the intake up and out of there, because that one's in a bad spot, and it's a plastic intake. I won't be back there reefing on the back of it too much. My luck, I'll end up ripping the thing off, and then I have to go pull the intake off my truck, get him back on the road, and you just, you know, nah, we don't want to do all that. Get this plug off. Get that off. Alright, there we go. Thing's broke loose. Up there, a knock sensor, but we can get that once the intake's off. Belt tensioner. Is that a 3/8? I can't remember. Yeah, it's definitely 3/8. Ah, come on. Huh. Yeah, come on, just get off something. There we go. It got off something. And just let you lay there till we absolutely need you, then we'll dig you back out. Might have to get out my other ratchet. No, okay, well, these are way looser than the ones on my truck. Over torque much? Alright, and it shouldn't immediately drop down because it does have an alignment pin on it, so it should sit there. Oh no, there is a fourth one. Cool, good thing I didn't get too Yankee. I couldn't remember if there was a fourth or just three. Get off my back. Now I gotta remember how to get to it. Well, they must have changed some stuff because I've pulled mine off several times and I don't remember it being this awkward just to get to. I do not recall it being this awkward to get to this bolt. Or do I? I mean, it's in a spot. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. How do I normally get that off? Ow, knuckle. Caught a knuckle. That hurt. Alright, I can get the long ratchet one on it. Let's see if I can actually use the long ratchet one. Oh yeah, there's plenty of throw there. Okay. I still might kind of believe this pump might be a hair bit different, because I don't know if I have to do this or not. Or maybe I just didn't put this bolt back in after the first time I took mine off. That is a large possibility. That is a major possibility that I just said, you know what? Forget that bolt, it ain't going back in there. Now, who am I kidding? I wouldn't do anything like that. Sometime this year. This bolt is 4 miles long. And my ratchet wrench fell off. Not good. Aha! There it is. Out. Alright, you can have my wrench for now, but I will come back for it. I promise you. Alright, now see, that opens up all the room that you will need to get that little lass out of the way. Oh, lassie! Now there is some stuff back here on that backside, but I think I might have enough leeway to get it out and then deal with it. Win! Alright, now we gotta get this fuel line off so that it won't be in the way. There we go. Get that out of there. Now I gotta go get my quick connector. Dun dun dun. Looks like 3/8. We will try 3/8. And there it is. Voila! That is what we call a instant off. We will leak a little of the petrol, but it will be okay. Now, see, I go put all these up. Find what appears to be a 3/8 cap. Not real sure. Ha! Good enough. See, now we don't get contaminates in the fuel. And now we can start pulling the intake bolt. Let's see. Break the seal on that bad boy. There it comes. And like I said, you'll just bend it back out of the way. It's the only way. And now we get all these bolts out. Ooh, this is nasty. Come on, Lee. Come on, Lee. Ow, there went a finger. Oh, well, that's why that had water in it. That's a coolant hose. Okay, so no, this intake is fundamentally different than mine. Mine does not have a coolant hose going into my intake. Yep, that's a coolant hose all day, every day. Huh. I swear mine don't have that. I promise you, it does not have that. Oh, we gotta go old school on this one. My little ratchet ain't got the power to oof to that and in there. Or oof to it out, should I say. There it comes. Got to break loose. And I mean, you know, couldn't be in a better place. Go ahead and tell you. Oh me, oh my, oh us. Gotta find the bolt. There it is. Oh, oofta, May. Anyway, whew. Back problems for life. Here we come. Let's see. Well, I need my longer extension. Yeah, the extension that matches you. I think that's all the hardware. Pretty sure that's all the hardware. Now, before I force this thing off and break stuff, let's get back in here with the light and take another look. There it comes. Okay. It was just sealed really good. Okay. But you always got to be cautious. I mean, it's a plastic intake. You don't want to just go reefing on them. Whoops. And no, that hose ain't that stiff. If I remember right. Yep, right there. There's a bracket on this hose here. On your EGR hose, there's a bracket right there. Oh, I think it's 8mm. Whew. My back. Was the Cadillac kind? Okay. Yep. Mr. Yum Yum. Oh, there it is. $8 mil out. Now it should just be that rubber hose. Yeah, this stuff is gonna get routed way differently when it goes back together. Because the fact that this engine harness wraps up and through these hoses is not cool. Not cool at all. Yep. Another one of these. Here we go. Let's see, I think the only thing left holding this is just this hose, I believe. Yep, so now we just got to try and get that hose off, which, whew, does not look like it's in good shape. Oh, this whole deal is just in a terrible place. Why they made this change, I do not know. Truly do not know why they made this change here. Oh, that little piece of hose right there is almost rotten anyway. Yep, that little piece of hose right here is rotten anyway. So we're going to put a new one on. There we go. Ah, not a problem anymore, is it? Except for the fact we still got something hooked up and I'm not sure what it is. Okay, we got I think we got a couple things still clipped on down here. There, that one goes. Is that it? No, there's still something else. Of course there is. How many times are they gonna hook this engine harness up to the intake? There we go. So they did away with the little flap deal, which means I like this intake better than my intake. Get all these lines tucked back here, because none of them matter anymore. All right. Get this pulled off. I just gotta unplug this one here, but you gotta be careful because these little knock sensors break easy. There we go. Broke that, but at least I didn't break the knock sensor. Normally I always break the knock sensor. Come on, Fer. cam sensor. Disconnecting the battery should always be step number one, but you know, we like to live adventurously around here. Aha. Battery cable off. Battery cable off. And go anywhere but here. Just go anywhere but here. Anywhere but here. Thank you. Have a nice day. Alright, battery cable's off so we can clean up all that corrosion later. But until then, alright, that's off. That's all off. Alright. Now this step here is completely optional. I'm just doing it because I know from experience that it makes your life a little easier. And when you're taking the whole valve cover off anyway. I'm gonna get the shop vac out of here and suck all this loose stuff out. That way we don't run the risk of dropping any of it into the Ingione. Is that one there still? 11 M30? Yes. Got all that unplugged. And a ground strap that's about ready to shred. So we need to put a new ground strap on the engine or splice that one back together. But there, we can get all of it. We can get this entire wiring harness set off and to the side. Go and plug this one here. Now all of this can be set up here and off to the side and out of the way, because it, like I said, it'll just help yourself in the long run. Now you can get down there to clean up the intake ports better. You got free range to all this with minimal headache. Yep, all the spark plug holes and the head right here. Oh, it just has oil just standing in it. All right, I think these are all 8 mils. Pretty sure they're all, yep. All 8 mils. It should, in theory, be ready to come off. It came off. Yep. Where's the timing chain? Never has been changed on this one. Yeah, tensioner's still doing its job. Alrighty. Yep. Get all that oil sucked out of there. Oh yeah, look at that. Y'all see that? Do y'all respect that spark plug there? The oil is almost at the top of that. Well, actually, it's up almost at the porcelain, but it's over the porcelain on those two. That's the problem whenever this little gasket here starts going bad. She just dumps oil down in there. No bueno. All right, I'll set this off to the side for cleaning. All right, and I've just verified the timing to make sure that it wasn't, you know, that because it does have 246,000 miles on it, and I don't know the last time it was had a timing chain or if it's ever even had a timing chain put on it. So I wanted to do my due diligence and make sure that, you know, maybe it hadn't slipped a tooth or, you know, make sure nothing weird's going on with the timing. And I've checked, you know, the timing it's right where it's supposed to be. Like the cams have a little variance in between them, but that can just be from wear. And the only way to check the timing on these B2300s and these 2.3 Rangers or the 2.3 Mazda is with this kit, because there's no timing marks on the cam gears. There's no timing mark on the crank gear. There's no timing marks to go by because of how this engine is engineered, which is the main thing about this engine that I do not like. I mean, it works, but I don't like it. The cam gears are not tapered seats or keywayed to the cams. it's a flat face with a pilot. I mean, it's got a pilot that it slides over, but it's just a flat pilot. And then this bolt and washer sandwiches it against the cam face, and it's just a sandwich. It's a friction held gear. So if this bolt or this bolt come loose, you could sit here and just freewheel these cam gears on the cams. You could just spin them and they wouldn't care. There's no keyway, there's no taper. I don't like that. And even the crank gear is the exact same way. If you loosen the harmonic balancer, then the gear that's on the crank will sit there and just freewheel. It'll spin. It is a sandwich fit in between the harmonic balancer and the crank itself. So I don't like that part of this engine, but it is what it is. So the only way to verify timing on them is there's 2 flat notches in the back of the cams, and you'll get number 1 cylinder on top dead center on compression stroke, which would be with these lobes pointing at each other just like this. All valves are closed, and number 4 cylinder will be in overlap. All the lobes will just be hitting on the buckets, and it'll line up these flat marks, and your little cam, this is the little pointer that goes by the cam sensor that activates it. It'll be pointing just like that. And like I said, you got this little plate that comes with the kit, and this is a OTC kit. I don't remember the part number, but it's an over-the-counter, the part company, OTC. It's their timing kit, but it's just this flat plate of aluminum, which, any flat plate will work. I think it's like a 1/4 inch thick, 1/8 inch thick, something like that. But it just goes in these grooves in the back of the head here, in the back of the cams, and it lays flat on the head. And then it comes with 2 dowel pins. You got this one that is used for a different engine. It's not used for this engine, because you put that one all the way in and the crank's at a different spot and none of that lines up. And then where it goes in is right down here. You got to get right back up in here, and there is a plug right there. Oh, let's see where to put the plug. The plug looks like this. It's a 10mm plug. Looks just like that. And it goes in the block right there. Can you see that? That's somewhat clean fitting. Oh, if I get up in here. Let's see. That one right there. That is the pin that goes in. So before you put that plate in, as you're bringing the crank, as you're rotating it up to top dead center, you will spin this pin in, and then whenever the weight on the crank comes around, you'll have this pin spun all the way in. And you have to do this by hand. Don't use the starter. Lord, no, don't use the starter. But when this pin is screwed into the block, the crank weight will come around and hit this pin and not let it rotate anymore. And then whenever the crank weight is on this piston should be at top dead center, and then that bar, sometimes with a little force, like I said, especially it depends on where your cams might have a little bit of variance in them, but you should be able to get that bar popped into those cam gears. And with that resting on this, with the crank weight resting on this, and that bar in there, that is when you would then, you'd have to have your radiator and all this stuff out, but you'd pull this front cover off, and you could change out your timing set, put a new chain on it, all that stuff, and then put it back together. And it would hold the engine effectively in place, because these are an interference engine. I mean, if you take all this stuff off and you spin it over, you'll smack valves. Don't want to do that. So, yeah. And plus, it's the only way to time it. So this will keep your crank right where it needs to be. So like whenever you put it all back together and you go to tighten everything, you just make sure you have that crank up against this pin. Make sure you have that plate in. You'll tighten down everything on the front. And that's another thing that makes it a real bugger, because you can't even really tighten these until you put this front cover back on. Because like I said, the harmonic balancer is the what holds the bottom gear on. So yeah, even if you have that in up there and you have the crank held, if you're really picky about it and you're worried, once you put you have to put the front cover on, put the harmonic balancer on, tighten it so then you can hold the crank, make sure it's in the right place up against this as you tighten these up. It's, like I said, it is a very flawed system, but at least somebody does make a way to check the timing on them. I just hate that it's so complicated. Like, why they made it this way. They could have just put some keyways and a few little dots on the gears like everyone else does and been done with it, but hey, way smarter man than me must have come up with this. And like I said, it works. I mean, bulletproof little engines, you can run the fire out of them and they just keep going. So hey, now that I've verified the timing, and I know ain't nothing went all haywire there, ain't all crazy. I'm gonna get all the oil sucked out of these holes, and then we'll get these spark plugs pulled out of here. And at that point, we can take this valve off and we can go to town and get all of our gaskets, get new plugs for it, new plug wires, and put her back together. All right. I'm gonna put my plug back in my block and take my bar out back there, because we're not retiming it, so we don't need all this stuff. Yeah, like, come here. Oh yeah, come right out of there, you know, eh? Ah, baby, where are you going? It's like going to the dentist, but funner. Time to see if all the spark plugs, just give it to me, baby. Give it to me. Time to see if all the spark plugs will even come out, because you know that's always a good test. Oh yeah. Oh. This doesn't feel good. Ooh. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like how this feels. I don't think this has ever had plugs out of it. Oof. Well, I'm not gonna say ever, but it's probably been a long time since this thing's had a tune-up. Ooh, that felt crusty. I could feel the carbon coming off the end of it. Nasty. Oh, that don't feel as bad. Oofda. Not that bad, really. And all that liquid that's on, it's just where it had the brake cleaner and the hole there that hadn't evaporated yet. And just come up out of it. You know, I've seen far worse, to be honest with you. But, look, you could use a couple of degrees of timing in it. Just a couple. Anyway, number one, doesn't look bad, and it's an auto light, so it's been changed at some point. When? Hard to say, but sometime. Oh yeah, look at that one. The whole tip's blown off that one. If it's the same brand. Autolite double platinum. Autolite double platinum. Yeah, if these are APP 104. APP 104, yep. Number one still has the iridium tip there, or double platinum tip or whatever. And that number two, look at it. It is completely blown off and eaten back into the porcelain back there. There's a hole right there in the porcelain. Yeah. Yep. I don't know how many miles are on these spark plugs, but it's a couple. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now, it's a couple. All right, this one still has the tip on it. Burn mark on the strap looks about the same. Let's see here. Yep. All the carbon's burned off the porcelain, so all cylinders seem to be burning right anyway. Because the spark plugs would be oil filled, or the carbon rich, you know, the black ridge, the carbon ridge would be higher on the porcelain in there if it was too rich. No, this thing is looking good. Out of there. And that one too, showing the same symptoms as number 2 cylinder. So number 1 and 3 still had the tips on them. Let's see, it's an AP104, right? Yep, AP104. And 2 and 4 have got the tips burned plumb out of them. Yep, I'm pretty sure we're gonna make this thing run a lot better just with plugs alone. Not to mention the fact we're doing wires and, you know, just a general tune-up. Yeah, this thing's gonna run way more better. And I almost bet you I probably need to pull this air filter box off. Oh yeah, it needs an air filter. That air filter got rust on it. Yeah. Alrighty then. So we're gonna get an air filter for it. See if I can find a tag on this thing. It's probably due for an oil change. Maybe, I don't know. See if we can find a tag. I mean, the oil looks good. So, I mean, the oil looks excellent, actually. So, I don't know. Maybe it had been changed recently. $249 was its next oil change. What did I say this one had on it? Oh, I can't check that now. $249, it has $246. So yeah, they're doing 3,000 mile intervals on this one. So yeah, this one had just had the oil changed. Okay, so the oil's good, but it needs an air filter because that thing's got rust on it. That thing has rustaphasia on it from what I just saw in that hole. 5 pounds of poop and a 1 pound bag. That's what we're dealing with here. Oh yeah, yep. I don't know when the last time that was changed, but I can tell you right now it wasn't yesterday. Yep. Thing is soaking wet. Why? I can't tell if it's coolant or something else, but I mean, soaking wet. Is that running back out of the intake? Because there was moisture in the intake tube. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of moisture built up in this. Lots. I think I need a test on this. Because that has coolant coming right up to it. And this right here is rusted all to pieces. Yep, this line here will be capped off soon enough because we don't believe in it. The last one of these I took off, I actually had to take a screwdriver or a pick, it was one of the two, and dig all the pieces of the fitting out of the line, because in the process of taking it off, the end had like broke off in there, and where it was stuck in the line, like it was just flaking out of the line. It, like the plastic had completely deteriorated. We're just gonna put some straight fittings on here and completely do away with this bad boy. So then they won't have leaks anymore. And see, this is what I was talking about earlier. Just make sure this one isn't cracked or something. All right, yeah, see, they'll always leak, like right here, or right back in there where there's a little bitty gap right there. But they'll always leak there. And they're just, you know, and that is if they don't get, you know, cracked somewhere else. Because they pick up cracks in this body and everything, so. Yeah, these are just junk. I always delete them and just put straight fittings, hook the lines right back up, and make it where it has to flow through the heater core. Because see, it's really a diverter valve. It's not really an on-off switch. Like whenever it's open like this, when there's no vacuum applied to it, the coolant can just, like it just comes and just flows straight through it. Just bypasses the heater core. But then whenever you pull it, it makes it where it has to go through the heater core. Like it turns it and makes it where it actually has to do a complete circuit. So I don't think it's an on-off switch. Well, kind of still is an on-off switch, but it's more of a diverter valve than it is just open close. But they're junk. I hate them. They will always fail. No good, no bueno. So get one of those. I'm gonna make a list and we'll check it twice. Okay, I've come up with, we're gonna get spark plugs for it, plug wires, because they're oil soaked and we don't know how old they are. So replacing the plug wires. New air filter because it's moldy and wet and don't know how old it is. Valve cover gasket because it doesn't have a valve cover gasket currently. Intake gasket because currently it doesn't have intake gaskets. And then a heater core valve, a delete. Just 2 straight fittings to delete that. And then coolant. Yep, and that should have this one wrapped up. I like it. The serpentine belt, I done looked at it. It's in pretty good shape. No cracks. Still has the print on it. We ain't gonna worry about the serpentine belt today. All right, let's get this thing going to the parts house. Just got confirmation from the owner. He said, go get it all. He wants it done. Check back with y'all as soon as I get back from the parts store. Hopefully we can find everything today. Successful parts run. We got ourselves valve cover gasket, intake gasket, Ultima plug wires, new Wix filter, 4 auto light coppers, best dang plug in the world. Prove me wrong. Bet you can't. And, you know, had a little bit of downtime. Went ahead and just gave us a little with the Rust-Oleum because, you know, waiting on that sponsorship too. Probably never come through, but if it does, yeah, it's gonna look a little different around here. I'm gonna paint everything, like everything. All right, we're just gonna Rust-Oleum the world up, okay? But anyway, went ahead and shot this so it could be, you know, at least flashing over, doing a little bit of curing. Got this little piece of hose on here to replace the one that, you know, I snip, you know, it's a little fitting in the intake that was back here in the back that was real stubborn. So I went ahead and got that on there so that can be oh lordy, sit up. So it can be doing this thing. And now we're gonna jump in to this delete of that hateful heater core valve. And it's really simple. You just pick up 2 5/8 connectors. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could just get some 5/8 hose and just run, you know, all new hose to where it needs to go. But this is how I do it. I just get me 2 5/8 connectors, 5/8 to 5/8, and you just hook the hoses up. The back 2 hoses hooked together, you know, you got this in here and that, you just hook those straight up, and that one, you just hook those straight up. It's like stupid simple, stupid easy. It's a cheap repair for a problem that shouldn't even be a problem. But anyway, normally I'd recommend replacing these because over time they do get softer. There we go. This may work better. Anyway, over time they get softer, so I'd be like, oh yeah, just, you know, throw you a screw clamp on there. But in all honesty, these actually still got some chooch left in them. Like, they don't want no part of what I'm making them do. So I feel comfortable putting them on there. Plus, these here, the way that these have this hard lip on the back of them, they're kind of like a push to lock one, you know, the ones that don't even come with clamps. They say you don't have to clamp them, but everybody in the world still clamps them because we're paranoid like that. But anyway, they got that hard edge like those push to lock fittings. And honestly, like, if these are in here for like a week, shit, good luck pulling them back out of the hose. They bite in there. They're like, I'm here to stay. Hello, thank you, have a nice day. There we go. And I'm trying to orientate all of the clips in a direction that, you know, I won't hate myself if I got to get back in here again. You know, we ain't worried about the next guy. I'm just worried about me if I got to do it again. Never worry about the next guy. That's his problem. Now, this repair ain't done yet. Because see, if you don't do something about this, you're going to have yourself a nasty vacuum leak. So you just come in here and just go, cha, and you just cut that off just like that. Now, is it blue or yeller? I don't remember. I think it's the yeller. Yep. Get these little boxes of these little vacuum caps, little vinyl vacuum caps. Or you can get the rubber ones. They don't have to be, which I don't know if the rubber ones come with ones this small. I also did a little restocking on some stuff. You know, you might have to get the vinyl ones. That rubber one right there might be small enough, but I know this yellow one is, because I do believe it's yellow that's on my truck as well. Yeah, so you just push that cap right on there. Get on there, I said. Yep, perfect. Now see that vacuum line there? It's capped off, and see, look, it's yellow. It matches everything else that's yellow over here. So it's like a win-win. And there you go. And you could cut that off shorter, you could plug it somewhere else, but that's fine for this situation. And yeah, that's it. That is the simplest and easy way to delete these faulty, just headache. I mean, like I said, I have never seen one that isn't leaking. If you have one on yours and it's not leaking, I mean, good on you. Take a picture, you know, take a picture, record it, enjoy it while it lasts. But when it does fail, you'll never put another one on it that doesn't leak again. And that's just my experience with those. Now I just need to clean up the intake and clean up the valve cover, and I'm just going to run them through the parts washer. I'm not going to do anything special. I'm just going to get in the parts washer, turn it on, do a little scrubby. And once they're done, I'll hold them up and I'll take the brake cleaner to them to get that residue off of them. You know, just get that parts washer residue off. I'll just, you know, spritz them with some brake cleaner real quick, you know, dry them off. And then we will get the top of the head wiped down, and we'll get the ports wiped down, and we'll just start slapping it together. Let's see. We can go ahead and do the spark plugs. We'll go ahead and pop them in since we got them. These old ones are here. Atrocious. I know, I just love that word, don't I? Atrocious. Spark plugs. Yeah. Spark plug and gappers. Alright, now I don't want to sit here and hear how these aren't accurate, how these don't have enough options, and yada yada yada, this and that. Alright, this ain't, you know, a top fuel drag car. Okay? Like, as long as you're in the ballpark, within a thousandths or so, you're good. And honestly, I don't even know what the actual real number for these are. I mean, at the parts house it says 44 thousandths. The Autolite thing says 44 thousandths. I don't really know if that's what they're supposed to be at. But in my truck, I got them set at 34 thousandths. But mine are set at 34 thousandths because mine lives at Redline. You know, that's where my Ranger lives, is at Redline. So I tighten up the gap a little bit to give you, that high-end stability in the spark. And for this one, I'll probably tighten it up a little bit. Like, I won't do 44, but I'll probably do around 40 thousandths. Like, I don't think that's too bad. Yeah, see, look. Oh, yeah. Oh, according to this, I'm scratching 48, 49. So that's a little tight. And you do a little. Oh, yeah. Autolite coppers are tough, boy. I'll bend that gauge right up. Oh, so close. Now, I mean, I used to do the tap technique, just kind of tap them and close them up, which I've never had a problem with. I've never broken a spark plug doing it. But I've just kind of quit doing it. I don't know why. Just kind of have. And right there, we'll stop it right there. I got the 40 centered up on the strap, and that's just where we'll call it. We will call that a good. And I'm not gonna bother anti-season these or nothing, because I've never had to on any of mine, and I don't think these were. I think these were just soaked in oil. I don't think they had any type of anti-seize on them. But I've never had a problem with my head on mine, which my spark plugs get changed quite frequently, so they don't have any time to seize up. But that, and also there's still some oil down there in those threads and stuff, so we're not going to get overly paranoid with that. And like I said, I've never had a problem with one of these engines. Not only my truck, but other Rangers I worked on, and my cousin has one, and he's had it for years, and I've never had spark plug problems in these heads. So until I do, it's just going in, and this is what I'm looking for right here, this thing. Why didn't y'all tell me where it was at? Y'all are such bullies sometimes. I was just trying to make sure my socket wasn't full of oil. Always start them in by hand, though. I always do start my spark plugs by hand. All right, and then we'll go back over all these and reset them as we go. There's number one, trash. All right. If y'all want any of these spark plugs for your ride, they'll be up on my eBay store. Over there somewhere. Okay, spark plugs are installed. Heater core valve bypassed. Now I'm going to clean up the intake valve cover. As soon as I'm ready to put them on, I'll get back with you. Valve cover is ready to go in. Got the new Fail Pro gasket in there, and as usual, it just popped right in. It's got all the stuff that you would expect. Fits great. It's very, very supple. It's very nice. Much unlike the old one. The old one was pretty much flat down to the plastic. It was so compressed. That's why it was leaking. And hard. I mean, just hard. So hard. Here, well, this is, oh yeah, this is a bit better one. Kink. That used to be rubber. It now breaks like plastic. So, yeah. That one was trash. Whenever y'all do this, just be careful, because this old gasket is hard and kind of swelled up inside there, so it's really tight, kind of stuck. So, and this valve cover has some really, really thin spots on it. So just be careful whenever you're digging it out, not to just, bust out the valve cover, because if you bust a big chunk off, if it's to the outside, like if it's to this side or to this side, it might not be extremely detrimental to you. But if you break it off any outward direction, you're probably in new valve cover territory. But valve cover is ready to go on. You know, it's not perfect. I wasn't going for perfect. I just wanted to get most of that oil off and grime and, you know, mouse turds. Yep. And I already wiped down the head, so that surface is good to go. Ah, look at that. Beautiful thing. All right. I'm going to get all this tightened down. You know how I do it. Just ugga-dugga the whole thing. And then I think we're going to get, we'll get the wiring harness back in place, and we're going to get it tucked behind the engine. That way we're not fighting it whenever we put the intake back on. Because if you remember how before, like this big wire harness here was like ran in between like the crankcase ventilation hose and up in the water line and stuff. We ain't gonna have it like that now. Now it's gonna run behind everything and it's gonna be independent. It's like in the future you'll be able to take off the intake without dealing with it. But you know, if you're doing any valve cover work, you'll still want to throw it off to the side. Anyway, I'm gonna get that tightened down, get the wiring harness back in place, pick back up with y'all when that's ready to go back on. Intake's ready to go on. This is the only gasket I didn't use, and I'm not sure exactly which one it is. I don't think it's the intake. I don't even know if it's for this intake because they have some different ones. But I put in the new EGR pipe one. Probably is for that. But I didn't need it. And the plenum ones, all these put in, all fit good. Velcro for the wind. If you're using a pick, you know, the stock ones, you just take them right here at this little tab right there, and you can just pop these right out. And I mean, I don't believe that this intake has been off in the 200,000 miles it's been on this truck, and these gaskets weren't near as hard as, you know, the valve cover ones. So they're green. Look at that. So not as much concern here. But I will say this, on my 2002, which, you know, you can see that they still kind of sort of have the provisions kind of made into this one. But on mine, it had this bar that ran through here with these little flaps on it for some kind of warm-up thing or emission thing or something. I ain't no telling what their excuse for it was, because obviously they got rid of it in the later models. But it had that in there. And then all these little cups right here that you can still see, you can tell where they turned them into the, where they kind of just started molding them into the rest of it here. Or maybe they might still be separate. Anyway, these little pieces right here were inserts, and they would fall out. Like I had like, I think 2 of mine broke and a whole number of other stuff. Anyway, I did a delete on that flap thing because the little actuator went out, and then this cap blew off, and they said a bunch of these ended up breaking, so I had to take it all apart so I could glue them back together and glue all this back together on my intake. And yeah, so just if you have an older one with that flap system, just be careful, because they are far more delicate than this newer style intake. I mean, honestly, if mine ever acts up again or something, I might just see if I can't track down one of these newer intakes and, you know, put it on my truck. All right, I need to set this down is what I need to do. I'm getting way ahead of myself here. I need to get our piece that goes in here like a glove. And see, and that's why I wanted to go ahead and put this hose on, so that way once the intake's on, we don't even have to get back here and try and fight with getting the hose on this fitting or tightening that clamp or whatever. You know, it's just already going to be on there, and we can hook the other one up. All right, let's start this battle. Sometimes these go right on for me. Other times it is, well, hateful to say the least. Oh, wait. I about messed up. Why y'all let me do that for? Look, y'all over here let me just get plumb excited. We got to put the wiring harness on here first. Y'all supposed to catch me on this stuff and ain't nobody telling me nothing. Ain't nobody saying nothing. Just over here with your secrets and stuff. Oh yeah. Well, as soon as I get this managed, we'll come back and put the intake on. Alright, we should probably fix this ground strap before we get to the point of no return. So let me see what I can do for it. Maybe this one? Maybe this is the right size? Maybe. Well, right now places to put junk. Got too much stuff going on at one time. I think I can go a size smaller. We'll try a size smaller. Is it the right way to fix it? Probably not. Does it work? Most definitely. Yep, I think that's gonna work just fine. Just fine. Dun dun. And be careful, because you can knock your gaskets out of your intake. And then you'll be sad. Because you won't have no gaskets in your intake. And it'll be sucking air. And you'd be like, why am I sucking air? I didn't sign up to suck air, but I'm sucking it. Which bolt's go in this again? I don't even know. Is it the long ones? Is it the medium ones? Or is it the short ones? Only one way to know for sure. And that's to just do it. All right, well, see, the illustration of that tensioner is wrong. The tensioner is not even orientated in that manner. So that's a lie. But, you know, I'll allow it this time. Oh, wait, that's the ones that... What? 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 Get out of here. Ain't none of that right. Okay, some of it's probably right. I gotta get my wrench back off here. 3.5 years later, he gets the belt on the truck. Okay. Oh, man. On the 33rd attempt. Oh, an 8-slip disc later. Finally got the belt on. That was way more frustrating than it should have been. But it's okay. It's done now. And this is number 4. Do I want to hook it up that way? Or do I want to bring it around this way? I don't know. I don't think I want to do it this way. Maybe I do want to do it this way. Yeah, I've seen worse. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. I mean, it ain't the most beautiful thing in the world. Some chaos there, but, you know, there's chaos everywhere, so who cares? But let's see. Let's see. Intake and coolant. That's where we're at. Yeah, we're there. Wow, this project really wrapped itself up, didn't it? I still don't want to discuss the fact that the tires aren't on it. Get off my back about that. Oh my Lord. Is that coming out of my ratchet? I hope not. I hope it's just on it. Ugh. Disgusting. Anyway. There's even a hole right there. How did I get that much moisture in there? That is crazy. Intake on. Got the box. We need the brand new Awix filter. A filter Awix. 46253. Oh yeah. See, I'm pretty sure that's a Wix. I didn't even check to see the part number on it because Wix normally does label theirs. I could swear Wix used to have an orange seal. Almost positive they used to have an orange seal. And they must have just switched to black. I swear they had an orange seal. If they didn't, I mean, this is literally the Mandela effect. Okay, I don't know if y'all have heard of this thing called the Mandela effect. But man, you know, more and more here lately, it's starting to feel like it's real. Because everything just seems like I ain't remembering nothing right. It's either the Mandela effect or I'm finally realizing I'm stupid. You know, they say sometimes it takes a while, if you're real stupid, to realize that you're, you know, stupid. So, maybe I'm just a late bloomer. Hard to say. Look at that. Bluetooth intake. Ha! Yep. It only gets whatever heat transfer we program in. No, that's not right. That's not right at all. Get in there. See? Like a glove. What was I doing? Intake. Yeah, let's see. And you come over here. Pop right on there. Right on there. And tighten clamps. Okay, tight. Need a little plastic cover. Our little plastic cover. Come here, plastic cover. All right. Coolant, battery, might do the tires. Might be a tomorrow problem. Haven't decided. Gargle, 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 cough, spit, gargle, gargle, cough, spit. Oh, I did forget to hook up one hose. Good thing I just saw it. Well, there's about a half a gallon there, and we didn't hardly lose any coolant at all, so it was low. Knew it. Yeah, let's hook this hose up before I forget about it. Which way was it ran? Oh my land, what even is this? I don't know. Goes back here though. Boop. Just like that. Now, I do think that is the last hose. Man, I hope it's the last hose, because I can't remember. We just won't tell them. We just won't tell them. Ow! I just keep pinching myself here lately. Whoa, oh. All right, get in there. Get in there. Go on. Go home. Just take it. You know you want it. Go ahead and drink it. Yep, good boy. Good boy. All right, stop there. See, can we get it to burp? Oh, we can too. All right, we'll have to get it started up to get the rest of the air burped out. I'm gonna put the wheels and tires on it. I know. Y'all can't believe it. Finally gonna do it. Let's put the wheels on it. Yeah. We'll go ahead and let the disappointment set in. Go ahead and let y'all destroy the comments, verbally attack me, come after me. I'll give y'all a moment. All right, moment's over. I did, in fact, attempt to get the startup on camera and the warm-up on camera, because I was going to start it, let it warm up, and while it warmed up, I got it off the jacks and, you know, just let it do things. You know, let the thermostat open, let coolant flow. You know, I was gonna let all that happen. I was gonna get it all on the camera. And, well, I messed up. I didn't hit the button, you know. So I was sitting there, just, you know, rambling to myself, and it was beautiful. Y'all should have saw it. Yeah, it fired. It had like a little burp, you know, because we had the fuel line and all everything. Just a little burp, but I mean, it fired right up, smooth as can be. You know, revving a little high. You know, these 4-bangers, they got their warm-up cycle. It was revving a little high. After a minute, come right on down to the 1,000 RPMs. You know, still a little high idle. I mean, it was just a beautiful thing. Fired right up. I mean, just sitting there just counting them off, just as pretty as it is right now. I was excited. I was talking. You know, I mean, no coolant pressure whatsoever. I mean, she's good. She's awesome. You know, checked it for leaks. Everything was good. I was just having a good old time. And I ain't even gonna try and recreate it because, you know, it was just so raw and natural and pure. I even gave it the hand. I mean, she took it. I mean, just sit there and rode on the hand. But, you know, I messed up. I didn't get it. So, I'll just have to try and do better next time. And I hope y'all will forgive me. But, until then, I'll give y'all a minute of the hand. All right, just a minute of the hand, just to show that we don't have any coolant pressure, or you know that it's running good. I hope that holds y'all over a little bit. But look, it ain't blowing coolant out, so a head gasket, it's solid, it's whole, it's in there. I mean, it's purring like a kitten. All the fluids are topped off. It's on the ground. I mean, I call this one a success. And, well, I also call this video wrapped up, because we ain't got nothing more here to do. Only thing I gotta do is get this back to the owners, and then we can move on to whatever tomorrow holds. I've enjoyed having y'all. I hope y'all have enjoyed your time here. But that wraps it up for this episode. Feel free to leave a like or dislike and a comment down below. Hit that subscribe button, and you're more than welcome to come back anytime. You can check out our older videos. I try to do weekly uploads. But until the next one, y'all stay safe out there. Getting kind of noxious in here. It's like I've been running that thing for like 3 hours or something. Ooh, it's getting dark.